Hi, this is Dr. Kingston, and in this video we'll be talking about the pancreas. Our objectives for this lesson are to explore the exocrine anatomy of the pancreas. We've previously looked at its endocrine anatomy, so now we're going to look more closely at its exocrine glands, what they secrete, and we'll talk about how those secretions then are transported to the rest of the digestive tract. All right, here we are down in the pancreas now. We have veered off the main alimentary canal for now and into one of our accessory organs. But by the end of this video, we will have found our way back on track. Now, being connected to, but not being a part of the alimentary canal, that means the pancreas is kind of limited as far as what sort of digestive processes it can participate in. So it is going to contribute to digestion by secreting digestive juices that are then transported to the alimentary canal to assist with chemical digestion. So, in a unit where we are, by and large, focusing on large organs with big muscular walls, the pancreas stands out for being a gland. So here it is. I'm outlining it in yellow for you, and it doesn't look like a whole lot, does it? In fact, there have been several instances where students in one of my dissection courses have mistaken it for fat and removed the whole darn thing before I could stop them. But even though it doesn't look terribly well defined, it does have consistent and important anatomical relationships. So it sits here posterior to the stomach. In this case, the stomach has been cut and then lifted up to expose the pancreas. The liver, again, is going to sit up superiorly and to the right, and this has also been tilted up for this picture to give us a better view. And then you will notice here that there is a duct that runs directly from the liver all the way down to the pancreas that we will talk a little bit more about in a bit. The head of the pancreas is going to sit tucked into the curve of the duodenum here, and then its tail is going to butt up against the spleen over here. All right, and then right in the middle, we've got the superior mesenteric artery that emerges from its inferior border and pokes out between the pancreas and the duodenum to send its branches down to the rest of the midgut. All right, we are going to divide the pancreas itself up into 4 anatomical divisions. So the head down here in red is the portion that sits in direct contact touching the duodenum. To the left of the head, so remember these images are always drawn as if you're looking at another person, so their left is our right. So to their left, you find the neck of the pancreas, which is the portion sitting directly deep to the pylorus of the stomach. Continuing to move left, we come to the body of the pancreas, which begins at the superior mesenteric vessels. Now, this is sitting anterior to the vessels, so we can see them emerging here on its inferior margin. So we just track this back up as an imaginary line and pretend that's where our body starts. All right, and finally, the portion closest to the spleen is the tail. There is not a hard and fast border here, but the rule is whenever this begins to taper down and become thinner, we call it the tail. Now, we've talked about the different types of pancreatic cells previously in the endocrine section, but it's always a good idea to have a review. So the 2 major divisions of cells that you find here are exocrine and endocrine. The exocrine cells are arranged into these little acini clusters that surround and secrete into this green duct. Okay, these are the star of the show today. The blue clusters then are what we learned about previously. These are the pancreatic islets that secrete hormones into these blood vessels that are very closely associated with them. Okay, and just to remind you, those 4 hormones are again glucagon, insulin, somatostatin, and pancreatic polypeptide. All right, these exocrine acini clusters are going to make a mixture of chemicals that we're just going to call pancreatic juice. A lot of what makes up pancreatic juice is just water, salts, and sodium bicarbonate. which, if you are a sufferer of acid reflux or GERD, you might realize sounds like a pretty good antacid cocktail. And that's exactly what it is. So if you look here at where this duct leads, okay, so here's our big duct, it's going directly into the duodenum. The duodenum, remember, is receiving chyme from the stomach, which has just tossed it around with a whole bunch of hydrochloric acid and pepsin, which can both burn and digest the tissues of the duodenum. So getting a strong dose of bicarbonate and salts helps to neutralize a lot of that. The other things secreted by the pancreas are digestive enzymes. Now, you do not need to be able to name these individually, but it's good to know that they're going to assist in breaking down starches, proteins, triglycerides, and nucleic acids that have been ingested and have already passed through the stomach. So, as I mentioned earlier, there's no digestion taking place in the pancreas. Its products are secreted into those small ducts, and those small ducts eventually join together to form this large main pancreatic duct. And this is going to travel the entire length of the pancreas from the tail down through the head, and it is going to empty into the lumen of the duodenum. Just before the duct meets the duodenum, so right here, it becomes wider, or we say it dilates, and we name that portion of the duct the hepatopancreatic ampulla. Ampulla, again, just means a bigger space or dilation. From there, then, the duct enters into the wall of the duodenum and opens up into the lumen. This opening, where it empties, is guarded by a little sphincter muscle, and that gives it some substance, okay? It makes it stand out, makes it protrude from the wall as a papilla. And we call this one here the major duodenal papilla. There is also a minor duodenal papilla, but it's pretty variable as to whether it's present in any given individual. So for some people, their pancreas develops this accessory duct that travels just a little higher up and empties here. But for many other people, they just don't have that at all. They've only got the main pancreatic duct and major duodenal papilla. All right, the pancreas is not the only organ providing some digestive assistance to the small intestine here. The liver also produces bile, and bile helps to break down proteins and fats. It makes use of this bile duct here to deliver it. So our liver, remember, is way up here. And it's going to use this bile duct to deliver that down into the duodenum. Okay, because these ducts are both headed to the same place, they're going to join together here at this ampulla here. So that's both of their distal ends. They join together to form the ampulla. So the ampulla's name is properly the hepatopancreatic ampulla. So we've got the pancreatic portion here. Hepato refers to the liver. So this is the liver pancreas duct, receiving both bile from the bile duct and pancreatic juice from the main pancreatic duct. And once again, I have put together a little overview slide for you. And again, please use this just as a reference while you're studying. And we will finish up with a practice question. The main pancreatic duct joins which other structure to form the hepatopancreatic ampulla? And the correct answer is B, the bile duct. So again, that hepato portion is from the liver. The liver makes bile. The bile travels through the bile duct. The bile duct joins the main pancreatic duct, and that forms the hepatopancreatic ampulla, which will then open up into the duodenum through the major duodenal papilla. All right, that is the end. Thank you for joining me.